I desperately want to feel connected to my child, but behavior is really getting in the way. Is this you? Welcome to this video presentation, Making Sense of Autism and Difficult Behavior. Well, in this video, I'm going to teach you why your child's behavior is a problem in the first place, how our current approach to autism has impacted you as a parent, and why you must learn how to parent your child effectively, and why you're feeling helpless and what you can do to start making positive shifts. Plus, you're going to learn why you feel like nothing you do works and you are not alone, and how what you haven't been told about autism is hindering your chances of bringing out the best in your child, and why we're looking at autism from the wrong perspective, and how making simple changes can make your home more peaceful. I know you're here because you love your child. If you're like me, when you became a parent, you vowed to be the best you could be, but you were blindsided and you have suffered enough. You have not been given the tools or the support you need to be an effective parent. What you're going to learn is going to change how you see autism forever, and it could change your child and family's future. All of this information is based on current research in autism, neuroscience, and developmental psychology. So, is this video for you? It is if you feel like you have failed your child. You want to help your child but don't know how. You're struggling and have no idea where to start. You're not keen on traditional therapy, but you're not aware of other options. Or maybe traditional therapy hasn't worked for your child and family. And if you struggle with guilt and shame. If you're determined to help your child and family, you want to feel more in control of your life. You struggle with stress and anxiety and feel like you have no time for yourself. You would love support from someone who really gets it. And you're fed up with living in a state of emotional chaos. You want to feel a real, genuine connection. I'm Sue Simmons. I'm the founder of Equinox Family Consulting and lemons2lemonade.mom. I worked as a certified RDI program consultant for over 13 years. I'm also an EFT or tapping practitioner and a certified professional coach. I'm the mom of 2 young adults, one diagnosed at 5, now 23. I live in Ontario, Canada, and I've been working with dedicated families one-on-one and through video conferencing with amazing results since 2006. And I am on a mission to change the way we view and address autism and to give parents back their power. So, take a deep breath and take this information in. What's happening in your life right now is not your fault. Here's why you're in the predicament that you're in. Even if your child has had therapy, we simply can't parent a child with autism the way we parent a typical child. You probably know that by now. And our system has completely left you out of the equation. You've only been given one option for treatment that doesn't involve you. Typical therapy doesn't impact your child's relationships. Your child is part of your unique family with unique dynamics and complex relationships. And you haven't been supported to understand how your behavior impacts your child. We have completely ignored the well-being of caregivers, the most important people to your child. You haven't been coached to understand your child's behavior, and your mindset, not surprisingly, is working against you. What we focus on, we get more of. Typical parenting just isn't working for your child, and this has likely caused you to lose faith in yourself. You may even see yourself as more effective as a chauffeur than a parent. And there's so much emphasis on quote unquote fixing your child that this causes you to scurry around like crazy, appointment after appointment, creating so much stress in your life. Family and friends often don't get it, and you feel alone. You may have felt that therapy was going to fix things, and it hasn't. And this leaves you feeling disheartened and guilty. No one has explained why your child's behavior is a problem in the first place. You've only been hearing about autism from one perspective, and there's a lot more to it. And I know exactly how you feel. These are my crazy kids. I've been in the very same place myself. Now, we're going to look at autism differently. And when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I love this quote from Wayne Dyer. In a behavioral approach, your child is expected to adapt. The goal of this approach is to, quote unquote, normalize behavior using rewards and consequences. And the assumption is that this is the best option for our kids in the short and long term. And again, your child is expected to adapt. A therapist is required, and you as the parent, you are the chauffeur. But autism is much, much deeper than what we see on the surface. And parents are left to expect that therapy will shift behavior. And chances are that your life is still chaotic. And this has left you feeling like there's something wrong with you. And you are not alone. This approach does not serve you or your child. Now, here's what no one has told you. We are treating autism as a behavioral issue. But here's the thing, behavior isn't the real problem. Your child's development has been impacted, and this is the root cause of your child's challenging behavior. Now, my work is based on a developmental approach to autism. And so we look at how development has been impacted. Autism is a neurodevelopmental challenge, not a behavioral challenge. Most of the behavior you see is caused by environmental stress. And we can shift behavior through reducing your child's stress. How? By really understanding what's going on for your child and learning to engage in a new way. And as you know, we just can't parent a child with autism the way we do a typical child. So let me go a little deeper and explain. Our brains could be compared to a network of computers. Different parts of our brains are configured together, so they work like a network of computers. However, in your child's brain, the network is different. It's configured differently, so it operates differently. It's not flawed or bad. It's just different. And what this means is as a result of your child's neural network. He or she did not have the opportunity to go through all of the typical stages of development. So this means that your child's ability to take information in, to make meaning of it, and to act on it has been compromised. What does this mean? Well, this is how it impacts you as a parent and your relationship with your child. You and your child likely don't have the same ability to read each other's emotions in the way a typical child would. Your child doesn't have the ability to borrow your perspective. You may have heard of the term theory of mind. Also, your child has not developed the resilience that a typical child has. So your child is behind developmentally compared to his or her peers. And this means that life is stressful for you. For your child, it is even more challenging. Your child experiences very high stress levels on a regular basis and isn't able to move and groove and flow throughout the day the way a typical child would be able to. So your child experiences these feelings on a regular basis, just trying to cope. Stress, anxiety, overwhelm, fear, uncertainty, and frustration. Now, let's switch gears and think about you for a moment. What's it like for you when you're under stress? What happens to your ability to perform routine tasks and solve problems? How do you tend to show up? I think we know the answer to this question. Stress impacts us all in the same way. A stressed brain cannot function or thrive when it's overwhelmed. You and your child respond to stress in very similar ways. Now, I want to remind you that your child is a child first. Your child is a little human being, and your child's behavior communicates their inner thoughts and feelings just the way yours does. And we all want and need to be validated and understood. Here's the challenge. Without understanding what's really going on, we run the risk of assuming that a child's behavior is intentional. We can misunderstand behavior, and unfortunately, and without intention, we can make a bad situation even worse. And behavior is communication. That's the bottom line. So let's go back to a behavioral approach again. Here are some of the things that really concern me. We try to fix a child's behavior so they will adapt when they are already under tremendous stress. And we are not concerning ourselves with the source of the behavior. We are not acknowledging the child's true emotions, which are often driven by excess stress. Here are some quotes I'd like to share with you. This one is from Dr. Barry Prisant, who's a well-known researcher and author of Uniquely Human. To help children with autism, we don't need to change them or fix them. We need to work to understand them and then change what we do. Most of the behaviors commonly labeled autistic behaviors aren't actually deficits at all. They're strategies the person uses to feel better regulated emotionally. Behavior is communication. Here's one from Ross Greene, author of The Explosive Child. Kids do well if they can. Your child wants to do well. Your child is way overstressed and terribly misunderstood because you haven't been coached how to understand and parent your child. So most of your behavior, as we now know, is due to frustration and overwhelm. This helps to make sense of autism. And the better news even is that you can learn to shift how you communicate with your little one so that you can reduce their anxiety and you can learn to reduce power struggles and much, much more. You can help your child learn to cope and feel happier. And this will help you and your whole family feel better too. You see, our current approach is way behind the times. Traditional therapy is based on research that is decades old. My work in a developmental approach is based on new information about the brain and autism, and I take a compassionate approach toward you as the parent and your child. I love this quote by child psychologist Dr. Mona Delahooke. Brain science tells us that nurturing the relationships your child has with you and others provides the main pathway to develop psychological resilience, flexibility, and healthy social and emotional development. A little bit more about my story. My son developed normally until age 3, at which point everything derailed. I spent years trying to figure out what was going on. After my son was diagnosed, I realized that my husband was also on the spectrum. I left my job to try and make things better, but I didn't know that I was inadvertently making things worse. I put myself at the bottom of the list, like so many of us do, and my family paid the price. Eventually, I started a support group. I heard about a parent-based program that put parents back in the role of parent so they weren't dependent on other therapists. I worked with a consultant who happened to live fairly close to me. This changed everything. I learned to become an effective parent. I got back in control of life, and I was able to establish a true give and take relationship with my child. I was so taken that in 2004, I trained under the 2 psychologists who founded this evidence-based approach to autism through the parent-child relationship. My life's work now is to change how we view and address autism. I am truly passionate about helping parents like you learn the truth about what is possible for your child. And I am passionate about teaching parents how to be the best they can be, parents who won't accept anything less than the best for their child. Why? So you can have a happier child and a happier family and a brighter future. In 2018, I decided to take my work online so that it was more affordable than one-on-one coaching. I started a program called the Better Behavior Bootcamp, which was an 8-week online program, extremely successful. In 2020, I'm launching Better Behavior and Beyond, the next evolution of this program. This is a longer program with more personal attention, lots of one-on-one coaching, and more time to access the content because we know that life can get in the way. See, you are the most well-suited person to support your child's growth. Think about this for a moment. You know and love your child more than anyone on the planet. You spend the most time with your child. You are more invested in your child's future than anyone. And your child will be in your life as long as you walk the planet. Your child needs you more than anyone else. With skilled and compassionate support, you can learn to reduce your child's stress. You can learn to understand your child and build on their strengths, because a calmer child can think more clearly and can interact differently with you than when your child is clinging from the ceiling. And you can also establish a genuine connection and have a happier child and family. You see, here's the thing. When you know better, you do better. I'm going to share some things that you can do today to impact your relationship with your child. We're going to start with empathy. Using the word no is infuriating to all of us. Instead, try showing empathy for your child. It almost always softens negative emotions. And here are some examples. We can't go to the store today, Brian. I'm sorry. I know you're disappointed. The rides are closed today because of the rain. I know you're really sad that we can't go. I am too. Doesn't that feel better than simply saying no? How about showing your child true appreciation for their wonderful qualities? Hugging your child helps brain development. Isn't that a cool fact? I want you to try catching your child doing something good and acknowledging them. Let them know why they are appreciated, and be sure that they take this information in. And you can be kind to yourself. Self-care is a need to do, not a nice to do. I learned the hard way that I had to look after myself. In some respects, I'm lucky to be here. I was that close to the edge. And your child deserves the best version of you. At the beginning, I was definitely not the best version of me. Giving yourself even 5 intentional minutes a day will be an investment in you and in your family. Another thing, be aware of your thoughts. How you see your child's behavior dictates how you will address it. Do you see your child's behavior as intentional? Now, if you do, you're not alone. Do you feel resentment toward your child? Have you fallen into the trap of using rewards and consequences to quote unquote get your child to do things? It's possible to build your child's intrinsic motivation. And our mindset has a tremendous impact on our ability to parent our child with autism. I'm going to share the anatomy of a power struggle with you. One of the things I talk about in my work is called negative repetitive behavior cycles. Now, here's a diagram. I'm sure that you will be able to wrap your head around this one. See on the left where the child exhibits an undesired behavior. Parent reacts out of anger or frustration. The parent does not understand. Of course, the child responds with anger, resentment, or shame. The parent, feeling frustrated, marinates in thoughts and begins feeling worse and worse. And then parent and child both feel disconnected, and the cycle repeats. You see, you and your child are constantly influencing one another's behavior. We all fall into the pattern of negative, repetitive cycles. And shifting how you show up will have a huge impact on how your child responds to you. And it's up to us to shift these patterns. Too often we function on autopilot. We can change this, and we can learn what's underneath the behavior and choose a new response. Another thing I love is emotional freedom techniques or tapping to help calm our internal thermometer. Parent training is a gradual, step-by-step process of learning and implementing at a pace that works for you. It's highly effective, and change often occurs very quickly. And again, my work is based on up-to-date research in brain science, developmental psychology, and autism. And now, parent training is viewed as evidence-based. The tides are turning. I'd like you to imagine giving up your role as a chauffeur and feeling less dependent on the experts. Imagine feeling good about things at home and knowing that you made that happen. Imagine being able to go back to work, knowing that your home life is more stable and calmer. Imagine doing things out in public with greater confidence and having the tools and skills to be proactive instead of always chasing problems. Imagine having the confidence that your day is going to be okay and you can manage. You can prepare your child for unfamiliar environments without freaking out inside. Imagine looking forward to the day, knowing that you're so much more in tune with your child. Imagine fewer meltdowns, fewer power struggles, knowing how to avoid them, feeling more relaxed and successful as a parent. And what about having more energy? Imagine, instead of feeling burned out at home, feeling like home is a place where you want to be. What if things were even 30 or 40% better and you felt more confident? Does that sound good? Well, this could be your new normal. Are you ready for change? Are you done with suffering? How would your life change if you experienced these wonderful things? If you're ready, I can and want to show you how to get there. I am so excited to tell you about the Better Behavior and Beyond program, a new 6-month online parent training program for parents who want the best for their child and family. This is a program that you do with my support in the comfort of your home. With compassionate and skilled support, you could end the helplessness, the stress, and the despair that you feel around parenting. You can build a new connection with your child that will allow you to relate in a new, playful manner. And change can happen very quickly. And you were given a divine purpose. Finally, there's a program that you can access from home and may even be funded. All that's required is an open mind and a willingness to be coached. You and your child and family deserve a happier tomorrow and a better future. Now, you need to make a choice. If you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you've always gotten. There is no change without change. Or you can make a commitment to change and start getting new results. What I know for sure is that if hundreds of my clients and I can get here, so can you. And you may be thinking, this could work for some, but this won't work for me. You would be surprised. So let's do this together. If you're ready to dive in and start changing your life, look on the left side of the screen, go down to the link at the bottom, go there, get more information, and get yourself registered. If you're skittish, I understand. If you want to talk to me about your unique circumstances and how this may be a good fit, please book a call to talk to me. I cannot wait to see you inside this program. Let's do this together. Take action now. Thank you so much for being here.